Fix old cameras. Your successful completion of the demonstrated repair ultimately depends on the quality of your tools, the condition of your camera, and most importantly, your repair ability.
The peeling leatherette on this OM-1 is the least of this camera's problems. What we have going on underneath this bottom cover is a corroded battery wire that is going to have to be pulled. The corrosion is so bad throughout the wire that it will not take solder. So to begin with, we need to remove the bottom cover. The battery chamber is broken, the contact is separated from the wire, and the wire is broken off near the access hole. With the battery chamber and contact removed, we can see the poor condition of the battery wire. The wire is shot. This donor camera has a good battery contact and wire unit. We can see how the wire is routed along the mirror box of the, well, actually it's not the mirror box, it's the chassis of the camera with the mirror box removed. The wire and the contact will be salvaged. In the meantime, we need to get the old wire out of the other camera. To start the wire removal process, we'll soften the glue where the wire is attached to the bottom of the camera using a saturated alcohol swab. Pull the wire free of the glue. Now we'll need to remove the top cover. The top cover removal of the Olympus OM-1 is covered in detail in the Fix Old Camera video, Olympus OM-1 Prism Foam Cleaning. Once the top cover is removed, the brown battery wire will need to be located and accessed so that it is free of its restraints. And then we will again need to soften the glue where the wire drops down through the access hole in the top of the camera, using a little alcohol to saturate the area around the hole. So far, so good. Pretty straightforward, not too difficult. Now we'll need to remove the pin face spanner on the timer lever. A spanner wrench might be needed, or the point of a sturdy tweezers can also probably be used. Remove the remaining parts of the timer lever assembly and peel back the leather. Oops, just about lost the little tab on the timer lock lever. We'll need to glue that back on after reassembly. I'll remove the 4 front plate screws on either side of the lens bayonet. There are also 2 more screws that will need to be removed on either side of the prism. The mirror box front edge plate will also need to be removed. It generally will just pop out. The glue might need to also be softened. Note the shutter speed link gear timing hole. It should be set to 1000. Okay, take a deep breath and steady your hand. Now the fun part begins. Firmly grasp the shutter speed ring on the lens mount bayonet and pull outward as you slightly wiggle the camera. Watch for the meter linkage string so that it clears the chassis of the camera. If you just yank out the front plate assembly with not being aware of that string, you could tear the string free of its moorings. No need to remove the front plate completely. There are some timing issues that can be avoided if the front plate is just tilted enough to access the battery wire. With the new salvaged meter wire fed through the bottom access hole, try to hook the wire as it comes up through the hole with a dental probe. With the wire hooked, you can then feed it through the upper access hole. This procedure isn't necessarily as easy as it's looking in this video. This can be problematic and troublesome, but if you keep with it, you should be able to get the wire fed through in this manner. With the new wire fed through the bottom access hole, up through the body of the camera, then back through the top access hole, once that is done, pull some of the slack out of the wire and go ahead and attach the battery chamber and the new battery contact. Make sure the plastic insulating sleeve is on the battery contact and in proper position before attaching the battery contact screw. With the battery chamber and contact properly secured, continue routing the wire, applying a spot of Plybond glue in the appropriate spots to hold the wire in the position so that it doesn't become entangled in the mechanism. With the new battery wire properly routed and secured, the front plate can now be worked back into place. Be sure to clear the meter link string as the front plate is put into position. The timer release linkage needs to go on top of the eccentric screw located on the release linkage shaft. Another point of timing that should be noted: on the bottom of the camera, the mirror release linkage lever in relationship to the trigger lever. Also noted is the position of the motor drive contacts in relationship to the trip lever. And finally, set the shutter speed to 1000 and align the shutter speed timing hole in the shutter speed timing gear. A preliminary test release shows all is well. Install the 4 front plate screws and run another test. Change the shutter speed dial ring to make sure that the shutter speeds change as they should. Then wind and release the camera a couple times, testing various shutter speeds. Once satisfied with the camera shutter operation, finish routing the meter wire and attach it with solder to its contact position on the circuit board. The rest of the top cover replacement is routine and covered in the previously mentioned Fixo Cameras video. One note of interest on the reassembly is the release eccentric access plate that's stuck to the leatherette. Make sure that gets put into the proper position. And before seating the timer lever, partially engage the timer mechanism so that the timer lever will seat in the proper position. Also, on the reassembly of the timer and the timer lever release, we don't want to forget to put the little indicator on that popped off during disassembly. Once the mirror box edge plate is installed, this original OM-1 will be ready for some action.
Thank you for watching. Inspired? Check back for new video postings.